Hi, I'm Ginger Nichols, and I'd like to talk to you about the game I created called Money Manager, the mutual fund game. This is Dan. He is going to tell you about his first day of training at Acme Mutual Funds. He was just hired in their customer service phone unit.
Wow, I'm so confused. Training today was tough. We talked about what a mutual fund is. The trainer told us that there is a portfolio manager who picks stocks and bonds that go into the mutual fund bucket. Maybe the trainer said a mutual fund was like a pie, that the portfolio manager was like a chef who decided the ingredients to put in the pie, but it's not really a pie or a bucket. It's money and stocks and stuff. Oh, I was so confused. I don't think I was the only one, though. Danielle, who sat next to me today, said she had trouble understanding the concept, too. I wish there was a way that I could try out this portfolio management stuff myself. I'm a hands-on kind of learner, and I can understand it better if I could try it out.
That's a great idea, Dan. Most mutual fund companies aren't going to give the training staff money to run seed portfolios with. But what if you could? Money Manager, the mutual fund game, does exactly that. In this game, management at Fat Cat Mutual Fund sees potential in your team. They give you $1 million to invest in a new mutual fund seed account. However, they gave up to 3 other teams $1 million to do the same thing. The goal of the game is for your team to manage the $1 million over a 3-month period. At the end of the 3 months, Fat Cat Mutual Funds plans to market the new fund to investors. The team with the highest total return will be named as the permanent portfolio management team of the new fund. Next, we'll take a look at the game setup. The first part of game setup is pretty easy. Remove the game board, the game pieces, the die, and game cards from the box. You'll need to set them up on a flat surface like a table. Each team receives a copy of the same prospectus. The prospectus outlines the rules regarding the fund. It tells the team the type of mutual fund that they're running and what they can and cannot invest in. Based upon the instructions included in the prospectus, each team looks for companies that they'd like to invest in. The teams choose the best companies that they feel fit the portfolio. Each game comes with 4 sets of 25 investment decision cards. The teams read over each card and choose between 5 and 25 companies to invest in, depending upon the instructions in the prospectus. The cards give the players insight into what each company does, issues the company may or may not have, current price, and a future outlook for each company. Teams keep records of their investments on the portfolio balance sheet. The sheets include the company name, number of shares purchased, the purchase price, and the total cost of the investment. The game starts when all teams finish completing the portfolio balance sheet. Next, we'll talk about the actual gameplay. All teams place their game piece on the start square. The roll of a die determines the number of days to move forward on the calendar. Each day has a symbol that corresponds with the game card. Teams draw the game card that matches the symbol on the board from the appropriate deck. The game cards emulate events that could create stock market volatility. Each card describes an event and how that event could affect the stock or the team's portfolio. Breaking news cards describe events that are specific to the individual companies in the game. One example would be that a company releases a new product that is well received by consumers. This makes investors happy, so at the next portfolio calculation date, teams are instructed to add an additional 1% to the share price of that company. Economic event cards contain situations that have the potential to impact the stock market as a whole. This includes events like the announcement of unemployment numbers, home sales, or the gross domestic product. These cards also contain instructions on how teams should score the event at the end of each round of play. Fat Cat feedback cards contain information from the mutual fund company regarding the team's performance. The cards contain both good news and bad news. This forces the teams to adjust their portfolios accordingly. The game cards leave the game open for future growth. Expansion packs can introduce new companies, security types, company issues, and market trends to the game, thus creating new scenarios to challenge skilled players. Game scoring occurs at the end of each month. If players run out of time, they could always end the game early after month 1 or 2 calculations, but the game does end after calculating the total portfolio return at the end of month 3. Players calculate their scores on the monthly portfolio balance sheet. Teams must update the share prices of their stock from the list provided and make any adjustments required by the previously drawn game cards. The team with the highest 3-month total return wins the game and is now the newest portfolio management team at Fat Cat Mutual Funds. Learning outcomes. In an article that appeared in the April 2010 Journal of Organizational Change Management, Alice and David Kolb stated that play equals learning. One of the goals of this game is to introduce complex financial concepts to learners in a fun and relaxed environment. I put this game together to reinforce the topics covered in a mutual funds basics course that I facilitated at one time. The game allows learners to transfer information learned in a lecture setting to actually running a mutual fund portfolio within the game. The game achieves the following learning objectives. The first learning outcome occurs when players build their own mutual fund by picking stocks that meet the instructions spelled out by the prospectus. Because the stock market is volatile and unpredictable, you can tell learners what happens when certain conditions are met in class. However, they might not experience such a situation during class. The financial events contained in the game cards provide in-game examples of how a stock or a portfolio could react in a real-world situation. All teams are tasked with building a mutual fund using the same prospectus. However, the combination of stocks and the weighting of each stock that each team chooses will be different. Players can witness how subtle differences in each portfolio can really impact overall performance. One element that all games need is fun. In my opinion, this question is best answered by the game player since fun is subjective. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and definitely in this case it is. My playtesters look like they're having a better time playing the game when compared to listening to a lecture about what a mutual fund is. I asked my playtesters what they thought of the game, and both players responded positively. Plus, the game was designed with elements of fun built in. Fictitious companies were used in the game, and the names were silly. There really isn't a bank named Too Big to Fail Bank or a Dewey, Cheatham and Howe Financial. Money Manager will definitely be a welcome addition to the Mutual Fund Basics course. It takes some pretty dry content and puts it in a format that's easily accessible and memorable for learners. Finally, I would like to thank you for taking the time to review my presentation today. Please feel free to contact me with any questions or comments. Thank you.